And we're live. So, welcome to another episode of the DreamDojo live podcast show. Here with me today is Elaine, and I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her experience in dreaming.
Hi, thank you for having me on. It's a lot to talk about, so I'm going to try to keep it as concise as possible. I cannot imagine not lucid dreaming. I'm at the point in my life where I've had techniques to stop it. Um, so it at least slows it down, makes the dreams a little bit shorter. It's not like just going to sleep and in a 3-hour movie every night. Now my lucid dreams are clips as opposed to full feature films. Um, it's the way to explain it. The part of trying not to do it as much. So I'm 63. Imagine if you, for your whole life, you had your waking life and you had your dreaming life. Both of them, when you're in them, seem like reality, like just so real. I feel like I'm 120. Imagine if I didn't have my dreams every night, how much younger I would feel. Because it really got to a point where I just didn't feel like I ever slept. And I talked to my mother. She's 87 now, and we never really talked much about my dreams because she doesn't remember dreaming ever at all. Nobody in my family ever. They go to sleep, they wake up, no dreams. So I didn't really have anybody to talk to about it when I was as a child. But I talked to my mom the other day and I said, tell me about when I was like, 3, 4, 5 years old. Was I telling you about my dreams? And she said, Elaine, I asked you if you ever slept. You would just wake up and just go off on mom. Guess what I was dreaming about last night? And I wanted to tell her a 2-hour movie. And she had, four other children there that she was taking care of. We're all young. And she says, I just didn't have the time every day to listen to your dreams. And so I stopped talking about my dreams at a young age. I tried to ignore them because nobody, nobody understood. So
Yeah, I think that a lot of people lose that social aspect of it because it feels so isolating. And that's
mhm.
a large part of my personal mission is to just make it more commonly talked about. I love starting any conversation with "How are you? How are your dreams?" And it might seem a little pushy, but I feel like dreams hold so much intrinsic value to reflect on, our mental well-being and what we're thinking about. I'll share a quick little personal story. This morning, I woke up and my wife actually shared her dream with me, and it was really powerful for me because it's so often considered exhausting for her. She can't really wrap her mind around practicing these techniques at night and putting all this mental effort into it, and makes the association that if you're dreaming or you wake up from a dream that you're tired. But from my experience, I've never woken up from a lucid dream tired. I've always woken up exhilarated and more often than not with a tear in my eye. A few times bawling my eyes out. I'll admit I'm man enough to admit that.
why?
Um, but for various reasons, I will say more often than not beautiful reasons,
Okay.
and um, just very emotional, very emotionally based. But what I took away from what you said was that you were tired of lucid dreaming. You were borderline scared at a certain point. So it sounds like you would sort of unlock something in your own mind that wouldn't allow you to go back to sleep. It was like your third eye was opened, and once you saw behind the curtain, to use another metaphor, you couldn't go back to just regular sleep. So if you wouldn't mind sharing just your introduction to lucid dreaming, more about that history and
Okay.
what led to that point.
Okay. That was in 1977, 78, that school year. I was 17 and I was in New College, a small college in Florida. It was a 3-year college instead of 4. You kind of skip your freshman year. And so it's a pass fail college. You either pass or you fail. There's no grade but pass or fail. And to pass, you
It's
pretty
kind
much
of cool.
have to get an A. You have to really pass or you really fail. So there's a good school for this group of people to come to get a group of young, you know, teenage aged uh, people with a high IQ. You had to have at least like a 1300 SAT score to get in. And it was kind of like a hippy dippy school. Back then, it's actually founded like 1969. So it gives you an idea of how the type of school it is. Anyway, they came down to New College and they entered.
1969, you said?
It's when the school was founded.
69?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So I was there, and I started in 1977. So it's still fairly new school. And so they came down and they interviewed a bunch of people. This one person, all I remember is this one person was working on his doctorate. He needed like 10 to 12 people to do experiments on, and it had to do with dreams. And everybody, there were 600 students, everybody applied. We were all in. And so that was picked, I think, mainly because I had a whole lifetime up until then as a vivid dreamer. I just woke up, remembered my dreams every day. So I had a leg up on a lot of people. So they put us, we had hammocks. This is in Florida. It's next to the Ringling Museum in Sarasota, beautiful grounds, and we had hammocks everywhere. They would set up hammocks. They would put monitors on our head to monitor the alpha, beta, delta waves, whatever. And they gave us music, and then they taught us how to slowly go into a meditation while monitoring our brain waves. At the same time, we had to keep a dream journal, which was very easy and for me to do. And then we had to eventually train ourselves to fall asleep looking at our hand in the hopes that you will wake up in your dream and see your hand. They didn't call it lucid dreaming, it was called biofeedback. And they said it was just waking up in your dream. And I did it the one time. In my dream, I realized I was dreaming. I pulled my hand up and it was perfectly normal. And I woke up and I swore I'd never do it again. It was horrifying. Bless you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm glad I'm muted. Let me say that this sounds like an awesome school, an awesome study, and you sound like an awesome person to even qualify. 600 people. How many people did you say were a part of the experiment?
Uh, 10 to 12 max.
Wow. Okay. So almost like a case study about vivid dreamers, which I would love to pick your brain about why you think you
I
remember your dreams to begin with.
have no idea.
But yeah, the hands really resonate with me because that's my favorite reality check. And I'll tell you, it freaked me out too. And I don't do it anymore because it freaked me out so much. And
Really?
it was different though, my experience. And I always try to encourage people, you try it for yourself because regardless of what we tell you, you know, it might be something different, or if you expect it, it might be more likely. Just, you know, use your imagination and try it if you're listening. When I do a reality check, first thing I like to do is inspect my hands because like your thumbprint, your handprint is pretty unique. And the shape of your hands, the proportion, the size of your fingers, you know, how much detail can you really pay attention to? So that's how I start. And then I combine it with other things like tactile sensation of rubbing, clapping, sound. Does it sound like a normal clap? And then my favorite is to try and really imagine poking through the hand
Mhm.
and imagine what that might feel like. And I'm a big proponent for imagining it if this were a dream, like I'm going to prove it wrong. And usually, if I have that strong will, my intention will manifest if I am dreaming. But I always got to like double check and really push hard on the table, try to phase through a wall. knock, real quick just to be triple sure. But what happened one time that scared me, and I'll never do it again, is I went to lift my hands up and I felt the sensation of raising my hands to my face and the air and everything and the weight of my arms, but nothing was there. I was completely disembodied. I felt invisible. and it took me a while. It took me a while to really sort of find my self, I guess you could say, without a physical self.
Mhm.
But yeah, it really resonated when you said, yeah, it just, it can freak me out. But okay, quick question. When you were falling asleep, were you actually looking at your hands? Were
Well,
you like, did you
they
fall asleep and your hand falls on your face? Or like, what's that look like?
it's like laying there and looking at your hand as long as you can until you fall asleep.
Cool. I'm going to try that. I mean, even though I'm scared, I think
Yeah.
fear can be a powerful motivator.
Yeah.
Okay,
Never did
sweet.
it
So
again. And
don't blame you.
after that, I finished the course and stuff, but after that, I didn't I didn't want that. If that's what lucid dreaming if that's they didn't have a word for it back then, so I didn't want that because I didn't like it. I didn't like the feeling. So I kind of just went on with my life. And then in my 20s, um, I read. It was a constant read. People take care of your eyes. That's why I have these glasses on, and the hat is reading. Computer screens constantly will destroy your eyes. Trust me. But I was reading every night, going to sleep in my 20s. And I would have like two or three novels at my bedside, and I would just grab one and I'd read until I'd go to sleep. And I'd wake up, go about my day. The next night, I'd pick up the same book, look at the bookmark where it was, and I'm like, well, this doesn't make any sense because I already know what's going to happen 3 or 4 chapters ahead of this, of where I marked the book. But I would not, just kind of pay attention to it. And what I was doing was every night I was continuing a book in my dreams. So I was writing the book after I fell asleep. So, but I was writing it differently than the original, the real author. So that's when I started. The lucid dreaming was like being forced on me, if that makes sense. Like I didn't want it, but it was the universe going and tapping my head, just going, you can do this, you can do this. Like, continue this. So I did that for I don't know how many years. And then I got really lucid in my late 20s. I was, oh my God, flying everywhere, creating worlds. I mean, everything you can imagine doing, I was doing it in my late 20s. So I got into it. It took me a while, I guess a good 10 years for my brain to accept the fact that this is something it wants to do. Um, and then I got married when I was 30. And so I had somebody to wake up to next to every morning and say, "Hey, guess what I was dreaming about?" And so really for the first time in my life, I had somebody to talk to about my dreams, and he was amused. He's not a lucid dreamer, and we actually got into arguments about things because I would remember an event, conversation, something we did, and I would talk to him about it. He was like, Elaine, that never happened. And I'm like, I remember what you were wearing. I remember what the weather was like, where we were, the background, the exact conversation. This happened. And about every 6 months, we would have an argument about, no, never happened. Not, you were dreaming. so,
I
so it's
actually
not,
think, yeah,
it
just to
does
interrupt
bleed.
you there, I think it's, yeah, that's probably why it's scary because it literally can kill you in a sense that if you think you're dreaming and you do something dangerous, you will actually be hurt. So I think there's a biological reason why we may forget our dreams. It's very important to differentiate. And that's why, me personally, I'm a big proponent of doing reality checks, not for the dissociation, to convince myself that I'm dreaming, but to be able to ground myself in physical reality. I'm a big advocate for the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and focusing on your surroundings, using your senses, and returning to the present moment. Because that all helps me. So I hope it helps, whoever, can find that themselves. But yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Trust me. I know what that's like. And as somebody who struggles with sleep deprivation quite often, when you don't get your sleep, it almost bleeds into, a dreamy life. And you can literally start to hallucinate if you don't sleep long enough. And it's really unhealthy.
Mhm.
Um, so there's a reason I argue time and time again that we do this. And I think it's, to simulate our reality as close as we can, and oftentimes with scary lifelike realism, and to simulate otherwise threatening, dangerous, or emotional situations. And our ability to do this mental work may seem exhausting, but when you shift your focus and start paying attention to the things you care about, it can be a really beautiful experience. And that's why I think lucid living is the answer to unlocking really the life of your dreams, so that you're not wasting, a third of your life asleep. I mean, if you're 120 years old, you've got a lot of wisdom to share with us. So please, I'd love to hear more about your story, just what you did once you started shifting that focus from, fear to creation. It's beautiful.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're talking decades of dreams. So, I'll give you one of my favorite ones. I lived in a Key West for 30 years. So I'm literally an island out in the middle of the ocean. And I got divorced there. And he stayed on one island. I moved back. I stayed on the other island. We kind of like divided islands. We had two dogs. We divided the dogs. It was very amicable. We known each other our whole lives, so it was not a really bad divorce. But it was just different living there by myself for the first time and having a little difficulty with that. And I had a dream where I was just looking at nothing. It was like a really foggy day where you can't see the hand in front of your face. I woke up and there was nothing there. And it was scary, because I'd never had a dream like that before. And I just decided, I realized I'm dreaming. This is not real. I'm dreaming. I said, well, I'll just create what I want. And I'd never done that before. I said, and so through the fog, I created a bridge. So I can see like 10 feet in front of me, a bridge being created. And then I would keep going further and further. And then I'd create the trees, I'd create the buildings, I'd create the sand. I was creating people. And I created a whole island as I was flying over it. And it became magical. So I did take something that was really bothering me and in my dreams made it, I don't know, just made it peaceful and beautiful. And I don't know. That's You have to be there to really understand it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. A few people are commenting, and usually I like to save these things for the end, but we've had 3 or 4 people watching consistently since we started. And somebody said just a few moments ago, Elaine, have you ever written fictional books based on your dreams? If you aren't comfortable discussing them with others, writing a book can be a helpful way to express yourself. So,
I did. I was told I was going blind almost 2 years ago. They basically said I have three different diseases in my eyes, and they didn't say you're going blind. They just said there's nothing we could do about it, and sent me on my way. So my vision started to deteriorate quite quickly. And a friend of mine said, "You should write a book about dreaming," because she's one of the very few people in the world that knows what I do. And I said, "It's a great idea." because I haven't been able to work with my vision, not using a computer and stuff like that. And then I realized I can't really do that because I can't look at a computer for very long without being in a lot of pain. So I kind of put that. I wanted to write a book about dreaming, not how to, but what it's like. And because I've had thousands of dreams banked for a story, but no, I can't. I feel like I can't write a book about it. I would have to have a ghostwriter. I would have to have somebody help me and all that. I think that's something I would love to do, but it's not something I can do on my own.
Yeah, let's do it together.
Okay.
I'm looking to be uh, one of the few and the chosen authors who, forge their own path and write about whatever they want too. So, the field of lucid dreaming has plenty of room for literature, and anything we can do as a community to sort of incorporate practical, fact-based information along with the beauty of creation and all that, I think is the way to introduce more people to it. And to help more people along their journey, because like you said, it's not always something that you seek out. Sometimes it finds you, and you're forced to face that reality whether you like it or not. You're awake now, and what are you going to do with it? And yeah, so I'm sure you could share plenty of awesome stories about what that's like. I know that even after years, I can go back and relive some of my favorite dreams. So, yeah, maybe we can learn more about that, and you'll open up and we'll work together and figure it out. Actually,
That'd be great.
um, the nonprofit that we're trying to start, LDI, is really big on accessibility. And one of our founding members, Ryan, he's known as Skyfall Blind Dreamer. He's actually blind.
I
And
saw that.
so we were always trying to reimagine ways to share information, make it more accessible. Um, Recently, I've been talking with people about translating to different languages because there seems to be a cultural barrier to
Yeah.
entry. So yeah, there's definitely plenty to talk about for sure. But we did pretty good for just 22 and a half minutes here. It's almost 5 o'clock. So I was gonna wrap it up and leave, maybe the audience yearning for more. Um, Somebody said thank you for making it all accessible. Yeah, and accessible doesn't even just mean available. It almost means like efficient, right? It should be, if somebody's on Facebook and not TikTok, and somebody's on YouTube but not this other place, then there should be no favoritism about where we share information. Unfortunately, we get caught in our own little thought bubbles, and
Yeah.
the algorithm itself works in mysterious ways to keep us, isolated in our little groups. But imagine if more people realize the potential of dreams. Um, it would be like a mass awakening, and it can be a positive thing. Um, I myself, my journey sounds a lot like yours, Elaine. I'll admit, fear really motivated me a lot at first, and fear led to anger, and anger led to hatred. Or no, I'm kidding. That's a Star Wars quote. But but in all honesty, when you face your fears, there's a lot to learn about yourself, and it
Yeah.
sounds like you've got a lot to teach us about this experience. So thank you for making the time to talk to me today. I know we could carry on and on, but I'd like to see if there's any more questions. There's a couple of people still here. So I'll scroll back up and actually read another one. I forgot I can show them. Sorry about that. Just 1 second. There's this one too. It says I'm from that general area, but in Pinellas County, Ringling area is very intense with energy. I didn't know
Oh
they
yeah.
had a college like that there.
It's New College, NEW. It's right next to the Ringley Museum. It's gorgeous, right by the airport. Yeah.
Sweet. And it sounds like high IQ and vivid dreams were two of the things that led you to being a candidate for that study. And then you went into a story about how reading before bed lent itself to I'll call dream incubation, where you're basically dreaming about something you're thinking about, and incubation sort of led to control, because then you started changing things and really, exerting your will upon the dream.
Oh yeah. And
Um,
that then there's decades of that. So
so is that like the main thing, reading before bed and sort of using the power of imagination to carry on the story?
I it happened to me. It wasn't I literally was trying not to dream, but I love reading. So that was,
Yeah.
I guess,
Maybe
it's
the
why
fear in a way worked against you,
yeah,
because on an evolutionary level, if you're afraid of something, a threat, so to speak, your brain's going to work at it. How can I get rid of this threat? How can I get rid of this threat? And the threat is the awareness itself. So there's no escaping lucidity in that way. Um,
yeah. I can tell
my
you that I did I think I mentioned it in our text back and forth how about a year and a half ago I tried to stop lucid dreaming.
mhm.
Did we touch base on that here at all?
No, yeah. You kind of led with that. So, yeah,
Yeah,
please
yeah,
tell us if you have any advice, because some people really do care about that. Thank you for bringing that up. So, it might
yeah,
help them, because a lot of times, I'll be honest, just safe practices. I'm no doctor, but a lot of people reference substance abuse, which I do not recommend to escape dreams, or lucidity has all types of
yeah,
backlash and negative health effects.
yeah.
So, maybe you can help people with that.
Yeah, no, I study a lot about vibration, spirituality, um, all kinds of spirituality things. And since I can't read anymore, look at a screen, it's mainly podcasts about um, the spirit. And I guess I did a search on how to not lucid dream, and I couldn't find anything, obviously. So I decided to listen to white noise because I'd heard of that. Did nothing for me. I went into green noise. There's all these different colors. And I finally stumbled upon brown noise. So on my phone next to my bed, it's called brown noise black screen. So the screen goes black, even though I wear an eye mask to go to sleep, so no light gets in. It's brown noise black screen, and it runs for 12 hours, and it made me sleep. I mean,
Awesome.
I would wake up after like 7 or 8 hours, which I have not done my whole life. I usually get up
Wow.
a couple times during the night, and I would just be like, "I don't remember my dream. I don't remember anything. I guess this is what sleeping is like." So I've been doing that for a year, and, then I got to a point where I really missed the lucid dreaming, and since I don't have to get up in the morning to go to work anymore, I just go back to sleep and go lucid like that. And I'll have 2 or 3 lucid dreams in the morning after waking up. So it's now I'm kinda like I'm kinda messing with my brain a little bit because 'cause I'm making myself sleep, but yet I'm getting up and then going back to bed and then lucid dreaming. But at least I'm getting good sleep now. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. It sounds like a great method. So maybe before we go, you could share some advice for somebody who's looking to start lucid dreaming.
Don't do what works for you. I mean, because what obviously works for one person doesn't work for everybody. Um, I can't remember what I told you. Dream journal, remembering your dreams. If you don't remember your dreams, you're out of luck. You have to start remembering your dreams. You do dream. I don't care if you say you don't, you do. So wake up when you wake up, try not to move, try not to open your eyes, try to remember anything you can about dreaming. Keep a journal. That might take you a year just to be able to do that first step. The second step is um, when you do wake up in a dream for the first time, don't, it could scare you. Try to just be really still and observe, just an awareness. that you are actually dreaming, because that's going to take some time to get used to, unless people are just gifted and go right into doing all this without any preparation or anything. So, and don't push yourself. I think people are like, okay, I'm going to do all these things and eat all these things and, you know, meditate, try to remember your dreams, don't push it, and kind of like let it come to you sometimes, if that makes sense. Like,
It
do,
does.
do those small things consistently. Meditation, dream, vivid, or remembering your dreams, dream journal. If you do those things, it might be easier. It might take longer, but it's worth it. I fly every night. I fly. I don't think I ever walk in my dreams ever. I hover at minimum. I just push my body and I move a certain way.
Levitating has actually
Levitate, yeah,
been. Can you hear me okay? I hear like a
yeah.
slight echo for some reason.
No, sorry, I'm going on and on.
Oh, no, you're okay. I love everything you said. And we could go on and on. Trust me, everything you said resonates with me. I mean, flying took me months of fascination and struggling to fly. I mean, at first I was afraid of heights because of real life experience. So flying was like super duper important for me, but it was another fear I had to overcome. And the fear of failure was real. Like I just knew I shouldn't be able to do this. I know what gravity feels like. I got to
Yeah.
break free of that constraint, and maybe that's what led to dissolving my physical form. No, but um, but you're right. That was great advice. Remembering your dreams is a great place to start. Being aware when you become lucid, trying to remain calm, just observe. When I first became lucid through intention, um, it started out a regular dream. I was at work and I worked at a grocery store, food line. And I was going up and down the aisles and doing some stocking. And I saw a few customers. I greeted them like I normally would, just, hey, how are you? How you doing? And I remember one person turned around, and it was actually Nicolas Cage.
Oh, cool.
And I thought to myself, what are you doing in this little back street? Weird, this is a weird place to stumble into you. Like, I knew you were having, financial troubles or something, but geez, like, what's going on? And he didn't say anything. It was almost like the fact that I questioned it led to this nonverbal just smile, this Nicolas Cage smile. And
Mhm.
immediately I was like, this is a dream. Like I was
Mhm.
just looking at my phone. I saw a meme with you, and now this is it. And immediately I ran over to a coworker and I was like, if this is a dream, I can turn them into a cat. And I imagined and visualized them morphing into a cat, and it ran off. And I was like, okay, this is great. I got to go outside. It's time to fly. And the real life Heath Ledger Joker from Batman
Uh-huh.
stopped me in the doorway in my tracks, full lucidity, exerting some control, and basically reminded me. I was like, oh, this is a dream. Like, it doesn't matter. You're not real. And he looked at me and he goes, do you think that matters? And I was so scared that he would even acknowledge the how real everything was there that it convinced me. And we got into like this little like super villain fight right there in the dream. But starting that was like my brain. The reason I bring that up is because I think my brain sort of put me in check. It was like, here I was so cocky one of my first times. I was changing people and messing with things. Um, that it said, okay, you want me to show you something that scares you? And it wasn't even really that scary. It was like a comical representation of fear, if you ask me, because it was literally a pop culture reference to
Mhm.
Batman. You understand? And I was still very, very, very scared. Talking about it scares me because it's like, oh, I'm talking about him again. He gonna be coming to see me tonight.
Did you fly
But
though?
oh yeah.
Did you fly
Uh,
in that dream?
oh yeah, that dream I did fly. And
Okay.
I think that was what kind of like again set me back was the expectation that I did it once, I can do it again, and I just let it, I took it for granted. I didn't really enjoy the feeling. It was
Uh,
fleeting, and I had to really work on it. And now I feel like I'm walking around, and I'm light on my feet because I remember, that you can go back and feel that at any time
yeah.
and walk that line of lucidity.
Yeah. Gravity seems very strange to me after this many years of flying half of my life.
Yeah,
Gravity is like, ugh, like I
yeah.
don't
Well,
believe in you, but I
I
obviously I do.
I really like the theory that we all have universal experiences of flying because it's our body's rationalization of weightlessness during sleep. But it actually lends itself more to my theory about children dreaming more because when we became pregnant, or I say we as if I carried the child, became pregnant with our daughter, I found out that in the womb they dream like all the time, the entire experience, even with limited external stimulus, still dreaming. And that really struck me as like, what do we dream about? So maybe when we're having that feeling of flying, it's actually the weightlessness we've all experienced at one time or another in the womb. Maybe we return to that sort of feeling at some point in our, life cycle. Who knows? But I do have to go, unfortunately. I
Okay.
wanted to give you the opportunity to add anything you wanted to mention before we get off, and if people wanted to get in contact or follow you anywhere, if you had that option, or it sounds like you may be writing some sort of lucid dreaming book in the future.
I would, like I said, I would love to. Maybe we can talk about that. But that's my name, Elaine Chinnis. I'm on Facebook, uh, Instagram. I don't really talk about lucid dreaming, but just mention lucid dreaming and we can connect somehow. I'm a real estate broker for past 40 some years, so my name is just Google my name, you'll find me.
It's like a secret password. You mentioned lucid dreaming, you'll have a really deep conversation. But anyway, we'll end with this last question I just noticed. How long were you in the new college?
Um, 2 years.
2 years.
Two out
It
of
was
the
a
3 years.
3 year. Yep, 3 year
By the time
college.
I turned 19, I had wanderlust through my blood, and I just moved all around ever since then, all different
Yeah.
places.
Now that you mentioned Wanderlust, I'll show you my cool bracelet that I'm wearing.
Are we lost? No. Oh, oh.
I know I'm going backwards, right?
Yeah.
Not all
Oh
those
my
who
goodness.
wander are lost.
Yeah, I love that.
It's
Actually,
a little simple.
I have my condo in the mountains. I have that in a frame in my living room.
Sweet.
That
Well, Elaine,
bracelet.
thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation. Hopefully, we'll get to talk again soon.
Okay.
If you're listening back to this, you made it this far. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them or
Mhm.
reach out to Elaine and maybe she can share some more wisdom. But
Okay. Thank
that does
you.
it for us. Well, thank you. Thank you all. Hope you have a great day and sweet dreams.
You too. Bye.